a man oftentimes, right? When we see a man who is weeping and crying and all that all the time, we have a tendency to call him a punk or that other word that we can't say because it's not politically correct. It starts with an F. Y'all know what I'm talking about, and it ends with a T, right? Uh, or sometimes you just give the short version and it ends with a G. Yeah, I think y'all get that, right? And so when we see men, when you have men who are more expressive, right? Then we have a tendency to call them different things and say that they're less than a man. So what is? I've got to know. I've got to know. The question is burning on me today. What is? What constitutes? What makes up manly emotions? I remember, right? I remember when I told you all I started preaching at the age of 8, right? And when I started preaching at the age of 8, I could not get through a sermon without crying, right? And I would cry. It was easy, right? Excuse me. It was easy um, for me to cry just simply because I'd be welled up with so much emotion. I'd be welled up with so much of what was going on, and I later learned part of the crying was because my spirit was feeling one thing, and also, the paper was saying one thing, and I was trying to find the balance between the two, and trying to balance with what I was hearing in the spirit with what was on the paper, and I struggled with that, and it would cause me sometimes to cry because yes, I was supposed to say what was on the paper, but then there was something that the spirit was trying to get to somebody, and I remember. Matter of fact, it's you can hear it even in my first sermon, right? You can hear it when I've played my first sermon here on this station before, but even in my first sermon, one of the things that happened is there was a moment where I started crying and I lost track of where I was on the paper, and the Spirit began to speak to me, and I said, "And you need to stop this, and you need to stop that." And I remember, right? I remember that wasn't necessarily in my notes, but that's what was I was feeling in that moment. I flowed for a second in that and then, went back to crying and found my place in the paper. Right. And then oftentimes, and I remember, right, why I bring all that up is because, many of my friends didn't say much to me then. Right. Many of my friends didn't say anything to me about it then, about my crying, that is. But as I got older, they would be like, "Oh boy," when you would get up, we'd be like, "Uh oh, James about to cry. Come on, let's watch James about to, and it was this thing about, oh, here he go crying again. But let me just ask this question. Let me ask this question. Does it make a man less of a man, or does it make a man, is the better way to put that, less of a man because he sheds a tear? Does it make a man less of a man because he shares his feelings, because he shares his emotions, right? I shared with you all the other day. I shared with you all just the other day how when Timothy was here visiting me, we were passing by a gas station, and just before we were passing by the gas station, Timothy was telling me how he wanted an icy, and I was like, "No, Timothy, we're not getting an icy." And I said, I got, we don't, there can't even, there's not even a gas station around here to get an icy." And we passed by a gas station, right? And Timothy said, "Look, there's a gas station right there." Now, I know the gas station, right? It was right there, and I know what the gas station has in it. I also knew the gas station did not have an icy machine, right? But Timothy didn't know that. And so Timothy became upset with me. Right? He became outraged, and Timothy stopped speaking. And I said, "Timothy, what's wrong, man?" He said, "You won't get me an icy, and I'm upset with you." I believe that was his words. It was either I'm angry with you or I'm upset with you. So I'm not talking to you right now because you won't get me an icy. And I didn't fuss at Timothy and say, "Oh boy, stop all that. Man up. You ain't gonna always get what you want in life, so just suck it up." No, no, no. I allowed Timothy to have his moment. I allowed Timothy to express himself the way he felt like he needed to express himself. And I didn't try to shame him and say, "Oh, you acting like a little sissy. You acting like," and I know that may not be politically correct, but I'm just saying, you acting like a little girl, this, that, and the other. Man up. No, no. I allowed him to express those emotions. And as men, we've got to get out of this place where when we see a man who is expressive of his emotions in one form, fashion, or another, and especially in not a aggressive or angry or whatever type manner, but when he expresses his emotions rather, in a passionate or in a loving or a expressive kind of way, whether it be through tears or whether it be through whatever. However, we can't, we've got to get out of this thing where we're shaming men because they share emotions. I shared with you all, one of my favorite songs growing up was by a group called H Town. And H Town had this song that said, "Emotions make you cry sometimes." Emotions, right? And I need you to know and understand that manly emotions are the emotions that a man expresses. It does not matter. Let me help you out. It does not matter whether that emotion is to cry. It doesn't matter whether that emotion is to laugh or to smile. It does not matter whether that emotion is even that of being angry but not being violent. Being upset without being vindictive. It doesn't matter. As long as the man is expressing his emotions in a healthy way, there's nothing wrong with a man having emotions. As a matter of fact, it makes him human to express emotions. It makes him human to have emotions. And we've got to get out of this thing where we say, "Hey, in order for you to be a man, stop all that crying. Stop all of that. No, no, no. All that hugging and don't tell nobody about your feelings." No. Listen, listen. The statistics, oh, goodness, I struggled over that word, all right? The statistics tell us and show us that men die we're 5 times more likely to die before our female counterparts, right? Than women who are our same age, right? Then we're 5 times more likely to die before or to have heart attacks and heart disease and all that before the women who we're married to or the women who are our age, simply because we hold a lot of emotions in. I'm gonna get a doctor in here. I really am. I'm working on that, right? On getting a doctor in here because I want you to know and to understand that here's what the issue is. Here's where our issue lies is that, for so long we've been taught as men that we're supposed to hold these things in, and we didn't realize that by holding in emotions that we're causing damage to our own selves. Did you realize, do you realize that your body, your heart, it was not designed to hold in all of these emotions, these things that you've been feeling. And you've got to find, brothers, you've got to find a place that you can release your emotions. All right. That's why you've got to find an avenue or a way to express yourself. Find a brother who you can talk to and you can release what it is that you've been feeling, release what it is that you've been thinking, release what it is that is going on the inside of you. I've got to encourage you. I've got to encourage you. You have to learn how to express your emotions. Otherwise, if you keep all of that bottled up, if you keep all of that latched up inside of you, what you'll begin to see, what you'll begin to find happen is that you'll have, you know, different issues. And there's been studies. Let me not just make it seem like this is something I'm making up. There are studies, right? proven studies that show the link between holding in one's emotions and having heart attacks and strokes and all of these things. There's and because we don't release, men, because we hold in all these emotions, it does a little bit of something to us. It damages us a bit, right? Our bodies were not meant to hold that kind of stress. And that's what it all is linked into is the amount of stress that we put on our bodies. And when your doctor says, well, what about your stress levels? How's your stress been? Make sure you take into account that you've been holding in all your emotions. When the doctor says, "Hey, I need you to let go of some of this stress, the stuff you've been, if you don't let go of stress, it's gonna kill you." If you've ever heard that from your doctor, then that means you also need to consider your emotions that you're holding in, the emotions that you've been fighting back. Brothers, I care about you. Brothers, I love you. And I don't want to see any more of us leave wives and children and all of that behind in our 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s even, right? Even our 70s. I know that 70 is what the Lord promised us, but we've got to do the first part, which is allow ourselves to express and feel emotions. Allow yourself to feel those emotions, then express them in a healthy manner. Because I promise you, the more you hold them in, I promise you, the more that you resist those things, the more damage you're gonna do on the inside. You're stunting yourself, you're hurting yourself, you're killing yourself. The more you hold those emotions inside. And brothers, I don't want to see any more of us go through that. I don't want to see any more of us, right? Have to leave our wives and all that behind because all these years we was trying to be strong. We was trying to be a man and not show our emotions. No, listen, it is manly. What is manly is when you can feel emotions and then express those emotions regardless of what other folks may feel or think about you. Listen, I used to tell my nieces and my nephews, and I got to close with this, it don't matter what people say. It doesn't matter what people, say or think about you, because what they say and or think about you does not change one iota. It does not change one strand of your DNA. It does not change who you are. It does not change what God called you to do, and it does not change anything about you. So let me encourage you. Stop worrying about what other people say, think, or feel about the way you express emotions. No, no, no. It is manly. When you feel your emotions, you allow yourself to feel emotions and then express those emotions. That's what real manliness looks like. I have an emotion. I'm feeling an emotion and I express that emotion in a healthy, constructive manner. I've got to make sure that we understand that it has to be a healthy, constructive manner. If I'm angry, it don't do me no good to go around beating on everybody and everything, but I've got to find a positive outlet. That's why I love, looking at stories and things about Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, right? They found constructive ways to relieve their like if somebody said something that frustrated them, you know, if that somebody did something in a game or in an interview or whatever, they heard somebody from another team talking some trash. What did they do? They say, okay, wait till I see you on the court. And they would express their emotion, their feeling about what that person said or what that person did on the court. And then they left it out on the court and that was it. Right? One of my favorite stories is not told by Kobe Bryant, and this is how I'm going to close out the show and Man to Man. One of my favorite stories is not told by Bryant, but it's told by another player, and I forget his name at the moment. But he tells the story of how he was like, oh yeah, he told his brother, he said, man, I'm gonna shut Kobe down this game. Yeah, I'm gonna shut him down. He said in that first half he crossed over Kobe, he stole the ball. I think one time from Kobe, this, that, and the other, and he was like, yeah, man, he celebrated a little bit too hard, right, going into halftime. And he said Kobe came out at halftime and said, you had a great game. And then turned around and scored 50 points on that man. Friends, brothers, we've got to allow ourselves to feel emotions and then to express those emotions in a healthy, constructive manner. This is when we're talking about man motions, he motions, emotions. This has been our man to man segment. I pray that this helps somebody. If you've missed any part of these man to man segments, I want you to know they are available for you on Facebook. You can go to this station's Facebook page, 93.5 KPPM Shabbat Radio 24/7 Gospel. Or you can go to my Facebook page, James W. Chavis. They are there. Or go to my YouTube channel, I Am Encouraged TV. They're also there. So if you've missed any of them, you want to go back and watch them. We do them every Wednesday at we try to stick to about 11:30, 11:45. We do 15 minutes. So make sure that you join us. Make sure you tune in. If you miss it, you can always go back and watch it because it is available for you. I made sure of that. It's also on my Instagram. By the way, I'm live on Instagram. Hey to everybody who's watching on Instagram. You can find me on Instagram as James W. Chavis. All right. That's me across all social platforms. It's also on my Facebook page for this radio show. I Am Encouraged Radio. All right. All right, friends. Well, listen, it is about that time for me to go ahead and get out of here. I just want you all to know that I love you. I